Hello and welcome again. This is Doc Eon, and this is day 2 of the April Bootcamp for the May Painting Challenge of 2015. This time in proper video alignment. So we're looking at the model again, and well, this guy came off the sprue when I was handling it. Let's see, can this... No, that's not coming off as easily. We'll leave that alone for the time being. And so we have the backpack, which is one of the more interesting looking ones. It has both a vent and a small skull, so I might keep that. And this base, as I said, no, forget about that. I'm thinking of using either one of these or one of these. We can talk more about that later though. Today's question is actually, why did you decide to pick your project? What's your motivation for it? What will happen to your models after the project wraps up? Now, the last one is easy. It will go on my shelf and be, put on display. Nothing else. Why did I decide to pick this particular model? Well, to begin with, I got this model maybe, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago. It was on sale, half price, so it looked reasonably cool, so I thought, well, why not? And it went into my big box of unpainted minis. And so I simply want to get it out of my painting queue. That's the simplest reason. Another reason is to challenge myself a little bit by painting sci-fi. I actually usually paint mostly fantasy minis. I don't actually play 40k. I think I've mentioned this not on this channel, but anyway. I like painting a few sci-fi figures now and then. Challenging fact number 2 is the fact that this is Finecast, which leads to a number of challenging issues with the repair, specifically in this case the sword. Now if I hold it like this, let's see, yeah, you can see that this sword is all kinds of bent and wobbly and weird and warped, and it needs to be fixed. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm probably going to look at that before May actually comes around to see if I can fix it. If not, I'll have to replace it. So I'll have to do a bit of conversion, just cutting off the sword blade and replacing it with something else. Pinning another blade in place, perhaps. Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully that won't be necessary. It seems to be okay otherwise. I mean, Finecast usually or often has this problem with little pock marks in the surface where the molding wasn't, or the casting wasn't properly done, but this one seems to be clean of that sort of stuff, at least. Yeah. Oh, and finally, the interesting thing about this model is that it lets me paint using several different techniques. It has several different kinds of surfaces. It has the armor, which is Space Marine armor, which is not like fantasy armor. It's not metallic, it's painted armor, which is slightly different. He has this tabard, which means cloth, draped cloth with lots of folds, which is interesting. And finally, he has an exposed head. He's not wearing a helmet, and that means I get to paint some flesh. And there will be some small metallic areas as well, like the pistol, perhaps. So that is one reason, the main reason it's a good model to show off in a series of videos is that I get to paint it in a lot of different ways, and I'm going to be trying out at least one technique that's semi-new to me. And yeah, that's my motivation. I think that's enough for today. We might talk more about those possible basis some other day, because the rest of the questions for this boot camp actually don't require a lot of talking. So I can ramble about other subjects to fill the time. But that's all for today, so I'm signing off.